Okay, this is just a really quick question for the YouTube community. Has anybody ever seen one of these syringes? I would like to get some more. I prefer them empty. I actually have a few of these. I got years ago. They have a synthetic gun grease in them is what they came with. But I had an empty one because, God, one of these things probably lasts me for, I mean, even with all the guns that I have, one of them lasts for decades, probably. It took me God knows how many years to empty this one out, but I saved it. I would like to find a couple of these empty. I have searched. It does have a patent number on it. It's U.S. patent 4320770, and I'm horrible with patent searches. Yeah, you look that up, and yeah, it's just a bunch of gibberish to me looking up crap like that. Now, this isn't your standard syringe. That's why I like it, because the reason I like these is I refill them. I use a heatsink grease that, matter of fact, let me just pull down my drawer. It's a Dow Corning 340. Really good heatsink compound, but it's really thick. Well, it's not super thick, but it's fairly thick. But I like it because it has a very low bleed rate for the oil in it, so it doesn't dry out as fast as most of the other stuff that I've seen. This stuff literally just lasts for decades and decades. Good high quality stuff, though. So that's what I put into these. Now, the reason I like this type of syringe over your normal syringes, if anybody's ever used heat transfer compound in a syringe, is probably familiar. You'll push some out, and then when you let off of it, it just keeps oozing and oozing because you've built up a little bit of pressure in here. Even once you take your thumb off of it, there's still some of it will ooze, and it makes a hell of a mess. The reason I like these is this kind of unique tip. You can see it's offset there, but if you look in the end, it rotates. It's got a little O-ring on the end, so the end of this barrel's completely sealed shut except for one hole, and then there's an O-ring around it, and you can actually rotate the actual dispenser tip around, so you can dispense your grease, or whatever's in here. In my case, like I said, I use them for heat transfer compound, but as soon as I'm done dispensing, I can rotate it and then stick it back over where I store it, and I don't have to worry about it, because this stuff it's kind of like anti-seize, or what I call jump grease. It jumps off of whatever you put it on all over you. Well, heat transfer grease is the same blasted way. It just seems to spread like the plague. So, but if anybody has any idea where you can get these type of, and when I did the patent search, these are actually called, for this patent, it's actually called a specimen collector. Like I say, the only thing I have ever actually seen in them is either Kryton grease, which is a really expensive grease, which I have some of that too, but or a synthetic gun grease. I have to go pull it out. It's a mil-spec gun grease. But yeah, if you've ever seen these things empty and know who has them, would you leave a comment? Because I'd like to get, and that's the thing, I could probably, if I did some searching, I could probably find the company that sells these blasted things, but there's no doubt in my mind they're going to want to sell me, a skid load or, 1,000 of these blasted things. I don't need 1,000 of these. I wouldn't mind having 5 more, but yeah, even if I had to buy a quantity of 25 would probably be fine. But yeah, I don't need a planet's supply worth of these things just for my own personal use here, working on radios. But so there you go. If anybody's ever seen one of these specimen, what they call specimen collectors, but I call them grease syringes. But like I say, they have that. I know that white's just kind of blinding the camera. Sorry, that's the color of the grease because they're clear plastic. But has that where you can turn it on and off feature. I'd really appreciate it if you could let me know where you've seen them or where they can be had.